Well, we're back, and as Scott mentioned, I mean, we're now shooting to Peru. We're up in the high Andes, within the Pasco province, close to Cerro de Pasco, Eocene epithermal belt, where we've got lots of different polymetallic deposits, and as mentioned, we're sitting Lima down here. We've got around 48,000 hectares in and around the Huaron mine. We are surrounded by Chungar, which is a volcan operation slightly to the south of the operation itself there. Really looking at the local geology, and we're going to superimpose the veins, the red veins, which are all striking east to west to east. We've got a anticline sitting in the middle. I'm going to pause it there. So all of these structures are surrounding. We've got an anticline. There's like 120 structures, which makes up the resource and reserve here at Huaron. Historic mine, the anticline, and we've got intrusive sitting below that, potentially the source of these fluids. And so really, when we look at the context, and all I'm showing here is the main sort of 8 structures, which makes up around 30% of the current reserve resource. And the veins, again, as I mentioned, striking east-west, different dips, strikes, and we have an extensive underground workings. Again, this mine's been going for 100 years. All of the drilling that's happened, all those drill traces, drilling out all of these different veins, which are polymetallic in nature. And now just superimposing, as mentioned, we're sitting on 50 million ounces of silver here, and we're only looking around 30% of those reserve life of mine shapes here at the moment. Really, to just put it into context, it would be way too crowded if I put them all. And you can see the infrastructure and all these different veins which are currently being mined. And as Scott mentioned, we're really encouraged about the Horizonte zone, which sits down to the south. A bit of a history, and we're going back to 2009. We're continuously drilling around 20 to 30,000 meters here. We have a good, we do find continuously here at Huaron. However, we did see in 2023 a reduction in reserves from close to that 60 million down to 50 million. 8 million ounces of silver came out of reserve, and that was because we always have these changing parameters from the 43101, etc. And they're constantly updating. How can you put things into reserves? Is it based on historic? Can you back up that historic? Has it got so? With this sort of historic mine, we're constantly having to review some of the older reserve blocks. They got moved out, and hence we had a bit of a not just depletion, but a reduction as well from the reserve. But we found again in Huaron, and we're sitting at that 51 million ounces of silver. The Horizonte zone, which we're going to focus on today, and that came out in the news release that came out yesterday evening. And as Scott mentioned, this is close to the surface. There's a southern area. I mean, as you can see, there is some historic workings down there already, but really we've just gone in and followed up some of the historic values, gone in, started to infill drill, and started to pull together and bring in access back into these areas, rehabilitating some of these galleries, etc. And you can see some of the nice results we're seeing here, 1.68 at over 300 grams with really good base metals. And I think this is something that these sort of old mines can give us when you go back into areas, find projections, and this is what we're looking to drill out in the future. So again, we see some really nice upside in the exploration on these older veins, which were known, just going back in and systematically drilling these structures and getting some nice results. I mean, results at over 300 grams a ton, is almost double the reserve grade that we have currently at Huaron. Another structure, Cometa Ramal, that was being mined to the west. again, you can see the reserve which came in recently, and it's just really extending these vein structures out 4 meters at over 300 grams, which is excellent. 2.3 at 600. I mean, these are fabulous grades for Huaron for the future, and so we're very excited to be going into these older areas. And as you'll see, you know, the strike out to the southeast is all there, and it's certainly something we're looking forward to drilling in the future as we go into sort of back end of 24 and into 25. These will certainly be some of our targets. So that was Cometa Ramal, one of the other structures. I'm going to just focus on one more structure in this horizonte zone to really just give you a feel for, you know, the grades that we're getting here. And it's Cuerpo Andres. Started drilling in 2020. Again, we've defined, got in reserves. We're actually mining here now, and really that infill drilling and extensional drilling is starting to pay dividends, and starting to see some really good results. 0.8 at 756 with really good lead and zinc, which is for as mentioned in Huaron, is certainly high grade. And as we can see, everything's still striking off to the southeast. Some infill drilling for this year, and then we'll be building out those programs in 25. So just spin around here, and then we're going to zoom back out, and we're going to look at the Patrick vein, which again was in the release yesterday. This is again really highlights again that historic nature of Huaron, and going back into some of these areas and infill drilling. This is still open to the west. You know, certainly 1.66 at 819 grams a ton with spectacular lead and zinc numbers. So, you know, this again is within historic workings, and it's certainly open to the west, and that's something we're going to be following up on as we move into the back end of this year. And it just keeps giving. You know, it's been mining for 100 years plus. We keep finding additional areas, and we're really looking forward to this horizonte zone down to the southeast and building that out over the next year.